All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Tuesday, November 26th, 2024, and of course, we just finished with week 12, and what comes after 12? What, not 11, not 10, not 14, but 13. And of course, it's 2 days from Thanksgiving, if you're an American anyway. So happy Thanksgiving, and it's a good time of year. It's we didn't do great last week. I'm trying to avoid talking about that. I went 6-7, kind of an upset week, kind of a week I just didn't really see coming. I picked a few games just really badly, and we'll try to have a better week this week. But before we get into it, as always, make sure you drop a like, leave a subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and make sure you drop a comment below. That is the more important of the things, right? The likes and the comments, the subscribing's whatever. I hope you do that, but leaving a like, leaving your picks down below, leaving your pick'em record, leaving your thoughts on the week, how you're doing this year, all that fun stuff. But just make sure you leave something that's entertaining and fun to get back to, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Should be a little bit quicker this week, as I don't have as much like school stuff and like other commitments. So yeah, we have a busy week. Let's get into week 13. As I said, I went 6-7 last week. Not the greatest week. It finally stops my since week 6 I had been near perfect. 12-2, 10 wins, 11 wins, 11 wins, 10 wins, 11 wins, and then I got caught looking. So that brings us to 110-69, still 41 games over 500, which is really good. But we hope to have a much better week this week. So no one's off this week, as you know. We just had 6 teams off last week, so there's only 4 teams left, or I think there's 6 more teams to have a bye week or something like that. There's only one more bye week, which is next week, week 14, and then all the teams play the rest of the season. But I can't believe we're already at week 13. Season's flying by. Thursday football. Happy Thanksgiving. 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. It's the game. It's the standard game everybody knows is happening. The Detroit Lions are hosting the Chicago Bears. It's always a different team for Detroit, but Detroit hosts a Thanksgiving game usually. Lions are favored by 10.5 with an over-under of 48.5. Bears are coming off a close loss to the Vikings, 30-27. Lions are coming off a 24-6 win over the Colts. In which another game where the Lions defense dominated another team and just kind of has been one of the more surprising turnarounds from last year, because again, it was a bottom unit last year. The Lions secondary, the defense overall, they were decent at stopping the run, but they sucked at the pass. Now they're one of the better pass stopping teams as far as touchdowns go. I think they're one of the only teams, I think there might be the only team that hasn't allowed multiple passing touchdowns against teams this year. Apparently, not even the Vikings did that, which I'm trying to think. I feel like Minnesota did, but I guess they didn't, which is just kind of an amazing statistic when you stop and think about it. Because again, that was a bad unit last year. So I would imagine the Lions can shut down Caleb Williams in the passing game. Caleb Williams still has a bad tendency to hold the football, and with the Lions' ability to generate pressure, eventually get to the quarterback with guys like Smith, I think they can put a lot of pressure on this Bears offense, kind of shut it down. They're not really worried about DeAndre Swift. They kind of know how he runs because he used to play there, and so they're kind of they have an idea of how to deal with him. Plus, they're good against the run already. And really, the Bears' defense hasn't been great this year. They kind of got beat by the Patriots. They're probably going. They got 30 scored on them by Minnesota. I would imagine the Lions are going to be able to do their thing, play the offense that they like to play. And the Bears do usually keep it close versus Detroit. Chicago nearly swept them last year. However, that was with Justin Fields, and I think the Lions have a little bit of a weirder time with running quarterbacks. So we'll see how this plays. I think the Lions come in with a huge advantage, so I like Detroit here. Mainly because I think they can take advantage of Caleb Williams in the holding on to the football, just kind of being hesitant with it, and getting pressure the way the Lions do. Should be pretty straight up. Kind of a who gives a flying shit game. 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. The other team that always plays on Thanksgiving, the Dallas Cowboys, are hosting the New York Giants. I forgot to put the Cowboys record in because they're a bad football team, and I don't care. Cowboys are favored by 3.5 with an over-under at 37.5. I got the Cowboys winning because they just beat the Commanders 34-26. But they are home, so that's a bit of a bummer. And the Giants lost 30-7. They look terrible, so I guess I'll go with Dallas. I don't know. This is a good game, though. There's 2 good-ass games on Thanksgiving. Detroit, Chicago, and Green Bay hosting the Miami Dolphins. Both teams coming off a win. Dolphins are just one game away from 500 now, which is really good. They're one game away from 500, and the Packers are 3.5-point favorites with an over/under of 37.5. So, with this game, I know the Dolphins have been playing very good offense since Tua has returned. They've been white hot. They've been playing good defense as well. But the Packers are also playing good football all year, minus like 3 games in which I think 1 or 2 of them were very close losses. So it's not like Green Bay is like just playing bad football. It's like, no, they've been very good all year. They've been playing good football. They just have games where they look kind of sloppy. However, I think this is favored in the Packers' direction if it's any kind of cold, if the weather's any kind of inclement. Even if it's just kind of cold, I don't think Miami's kind of high-flying, vertical-based offense is really built for cold weather. I know they've been utilizing tight ends and running backs, which is a positive sign that they were able to kind of win that game with Achane and Jonnu Smith against the Patriots. Again, it's not really much to beat the Patriots this year, though. Coming from a Patriots fan. However, I'm thinking that Green Bay's offense can do what they want against most teams. So they'll probably be able to score against Miami's defense. And with Miami's offense, they'll probably be able to score against Green Bay's defense. But I'm wondering if the conditions of it being kind of cold, kind of crappy weather outside, kind of leans the game in Green Bay's favor for a team that doesn't particularly play well in kind of cold, crappy weather. They should be an indoor team. Miami and an indoor field is a lethal combination. But I'm going to go with Green Bay for those reasons. Plus, it's in Green Bay. I like that. If this was down in Miami, I may go Dolphins. But since it's up in Green Bay, I'm leaning on the Packers. Unfortunately, I'd like Miami to win that game. Friday football. So Black Friday, we have a game. It's going to be the Raiders taking on the Chiefs. The Chiefs are 13.5-point favorites with an over/under of 42.5. If the Raiders were going to upset the Chiefs, it would have been in Vegas. They almost did it, but again, this one's in Kansas City, so most likely the Chiefs are going to pull this one off. That was a really close game they played versus the Panthers. Everybody figured that was going to be a close game. There was people thinking it was a blowout, but it's like, no, most likely this is going to be a close one. And then the Raiders got beat 29-19. They really just don't have an offense. And with Kansas City's defense, I can see them shutting down whatever semblance of a little offense they have. And I don't really see the Raiders' really bad defense. That's gotten worse since they played Kansas City the last time. Like, their defense has gotten noticeably worse over the weeks. And I think Kansas City will probably be able to score like they need to, stay ahead of the game, whereas the Raiders may be able to score, but they won't be able to keep pace with Kansas City. So you got to go with the Chiefs. The Los Angeles Chargers take on the Atlanta Falcons. Chargers are 1.5-point favorites with an over/under of 47.5. Chargers coming off a loss 30-23 to the Ravens, and the Falcons are coming off a bye in which they lost. Believe it or not, they took an L. They can't even beat the bye week. You cannot. Anyway, the Chargers are a team I don't pick, no matter what the circumstance is. They're back on my no-pick list, just like the Jets are. The Jets could be playing the worst team in the league, and I'm going to pick the worst team in the league. The Falcons could be playing the Patriots. I'm going to take the Patriots. I'm going to take the Panthers. I'm going to take everybody over Atlanta, unless I know they're going to win. This has less to, and I don't really think the Falcons have a very good defense. I think the Chargers have a pretty solid offense. Yeah. I don't know. The Falcons kind of cooled way off. I don't know. They've become kind of like, they had the good start, and then it's just been like, and we fell off a cliff. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers in this one, mainly because I have a rule: you don't pick the Falcons. You really also shouldn't pick the Chargers, but they've been pretty good this year. This is a game I was surprised to see the line on. The Bengals are actually favored in this game per FanDuel. I put all the lines in from FanDuel. I don't really let them influence how I pick the games. It's just interesting to add them at the end to see how it's going. But the Steelers take on the Bengals. Steelers coming off a loss to the Browns 24-19 in a hilarious snow game. And the Bengals coming off a bye. For some reason, the Bengals are favored by 2.5 with an over/under of 46.5. I'm going to go with the Steelers on a couple reasons. Bengals defense will probably give up enough points for the Steelers to hang in any kind of game. Again, this is a pretty bad Bengals defense. The Steelers, even with their limited offense, should have a pretty good day of scoring, doing what they want, moving the ball at will. They should be able to run it. They should be able to throw it. Whereas with like the Bengals, there's a good shot that they could be completely shut down by the Steelers offense, especially because again, their offensive line isn't great. The run game hasn't been super productive this year. It's getting better with Brown, but it's still kind of not there. And especially against a team like the Steelers that can kind of just blow through that bad line, keep the run game down, make Joe Burrow have to make quick throws. And again, the Bengals can score, and they probably will score. But the problem is the Bengals defense is so poor and so porous that the Steelers will probably also be able to score. And with the defense that they have, if they can score and get up into the 20s, it's probably game over for Cincinnati, to be honest, for most teams, really. So give me the Steelers in this one. Not really sure why the Bengals are favored. Houston Texans take on Mac Jones and the Jaguars. The Texans are coming off a pretty shocking upset where they lost 32-27 to the Houston Titans. I always like to just kind of remind me. It's like, oh yeah, never mind. That was Houston's old team. Looks like they had to come down and beat their kids up again. Texans are 5.5-point favorites with the over-under of 43.5. The Titans did get revenge for them wearing them stupid ass jerseys, making those Oiler jerseys. Or wait, no, the Titans embarrassed them. They made the Oiler jerseys and then they came down into Houston and beat them. Or they played Houston and beat, like, you know what I mean? It's like, damn, dude, they really do get to keep the Houston Oilers name. That's cool. Anyway, Jaguars are coming off a bye, in which they also lost the bye week, because they still have to start Mac Jones this week, and that means I'm going to go with the Texans. They should be able to win this game. Jaguars have been made mincemeat every time they've played somebody lately, so if the Texans lose this one, that's it. Their season's pretty much kaput. That's it. We can officially call it the sophomore slump for this team. We'll see though. They got to win this one. They should win this one. I don't even have anything to say about it. Well, this is a pretty good one. Arizona takes on the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are 3.5-point favorites with an over-under of 45.5. Cardinals coming off a loss, 16-6 in their division. Minnesota's coming off a close win to the Bears, 30-27. I like the Cardinals in this one, mainly because I still believe that Minnesota isn't a real 9-2 team. Something about that team is just hilariously off. Maybe it's me and I'm just misseeing it. Minnesota's really, really good, but it seems like they keep getting these weird lucky wins against bad teams. And I feel like now they're going up against the team that if they beat, I can kind of go, all right, Minnesota's probably a real team. I feel like Arizona has a very tricky offense to deal with when they're not playing Seattle. Or their division, just that division is so goddamn weird. Genuinely, go look up some of the NFC West stuff and you'll be stunned. It's like Arizona always loses to this team, but beats that team. And then the 49ers always beat that team, this team, and that team, but lose to them. And then the Seahawks always beat these teams and lose to them. It's very, very, I don't know why it's like that. Trust me, look into it once and you'll be blown away how you can kind of just pick games in that division based on like how history goes. I don't know. I just think Minnesota has, they play good defense, giving up 27 to a Bears offense that's destitute. So I can imagine the Cardinals are going to be able to score similarly like the Bears. Cardinals play slightly better defense than the Bears do, so they could probably contain whatever the hell Sam Darnold's doing, shut that down a little bit, keep things in check. And again, I think this is kind of one of those games that Minnesota is going to get caught. They're on quite a crazy streak. They're due for a loss. They keep getting lucky wins. So I think a team like Arizona, where you have to be a little bit better than lucky to win games, will kind of catch them. So give me the Cardinals in what should be a fun game, very close game. But I like Arizona to win it in the end. Mainly because, again, I don't believe the Vikings are as good as the 9-2 record indicates. All right, the Colts, oh boy. The Colts take on the Patriots. The Colts are 2.5-point favorites with an over-under of 42.5. I wanted to pick the Patriots. I really did. But if the Colts can hold the Lions to 24 points, we're probably getting shut out. It's just like, damn it. There's a kind of a reality to how things go in sports. It's like, yeah, I can't even come up with a funny way we'd win this game. Indy also plays us like we're the devil, so they're going to come out and try to destroy us in this game, and they very well could. So I have to go with the Colts. Unfortunately, I don't really have much to say. The Patriots' offense is just not very good, so we may get shut out. Defensively, we've been dog water lately, so most likely the Colts can score too. So, yeah, Colts win. Unfortunate. Another game I don't have much to say about. Seahawks take on the Jets. Seahawks coming off a 16-6 win over the Cardinals. Seahawks are 1.5 point favorites with an over-under of 41.5. Jets also lost their bye week this week because they still have Aaron Rodgers, potentially. I don't really know. Jets are in an absolute dumpster fire situation right now. Everything is bad. Everything looks bad, smells bad, tastes bad. I don't even... it's a mess. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks because they're an organized franchise. They have shit figured out. They're doing the right things. The Jets, on the other hand, are a mess. It's hard to pick a team to win a game against a team who is as organized as Seattle, and when like you're the Jets and you just do Jets stuff. There are some stinkers this week. There are some really good ones that deserve some like time to talk about, but then you get games like this. The Tennessee Titans take on the Washington Commanders. Commanders are 5.5 point favorites with an over-under of 44.5. Titans coming off the upset that we talked about. Commanders got upset 34-26. The Commanders may have been a little bit of a mirage as the league has caught up to what Jaden Daniels does. However, I think the Titans are kind of got lucky in a division game, and so did the Cowboys. So I'd imagine the Commanders should be able to win this at home. I think their defense should be able to kind of wake back up, shut down a Titans offense that is pretty limited in what it's able to do. I think the Commanders should be able to score on a Titans defense that really isn't as good. Well, it's actually pretty decent, but it's not as good as it's been like made out the last couple weeks. They gave up 27. But again, if the Texans defense hadn't been so weird in that game and made so many mistakes, they could have won that, but they kept shooting themselves in the foot. As long as Washington plays like a decent football game, they should be able to pull this one out. Daniels should look a lot better in this game. So, if not, Washington, they're a mirage. Like, oh well, good rookie year for the team anyway. Good first year. 4 o'clock. What do we got? We got 3 games. Tampa Bay takes on the Carolina Panthers. Bucs are 6.5 point favorites with an over-under of 46.5. Bucs coming off a 37 win versus the Giants, and Carolina lost 30-27 to the Chiefs, but played pretty good. I can imagine Carolina may keep it close because it's at home. However, I think Tampa Bay's defense may be a little bit too much for a bad Panthers offensive line, a weaker receiving core. Bryce Young is starting to play a lot better. He looks a lot better since his benching, which is really nice to see. We're rooting for Bryce. However, I think Tampa's defense is a little too much. I think Tampa's going to desperately try to win this game to get back to 500. I think their offense is starting to click a little bit better for Tampa. I think they'll be healthy next week. They should have some of their receivers back, I'm hearing. So I like Tampa a little bit healthier. Trying to get back to 500 after a big win. You know what I mean? Against a team with a weaker offense, they should be able to kind of come in and do their thing. Carolina's offense isn't much different than the Giants, really. The Rams take on the Saints in a game of 2 teams that'll just miss the playoffs. The Rams had a loss 30-27, and the Saints had a bye week. They're the only team that didn't lose the bye week. Rams are 2.5 point favorites with an over-under of 48.5. I guess Buffalo didn't either, but no one really cares about the Bills. I got the Rams. I think them losing to the Eagles was just kind of the Eagles beating up on the Rams. They got bullied by that Eagles defense. Saints don't have anywhere near that good of a defense, except I think the Saints beat the Eagles this year. So that is something to think about. Oh boy, I don't know. I don't think the Saints defense has what it takes to stop the Rams offense. So I'm going to go with the Rams. And I think the Rams can control whatever little offense the Saints can throw at them. However, the Saints have been a little bit better since Derek Carr's come back. I don't know. All right, here's the game that's worth talking about. I've been kind of like trying to get to these good games. The Philadelphia Eagles take on the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are 2.5 point favorites with an over-under of 50.5. Both teams coming off wins, as we've discussed. 8-9-2 versus 8-4. I like the Ravens slightly more than the Eagles in this one. I think it's a very, very close matchup. They're almost the same team. Very eerily similar. Where the Ravens struggle with defending the pass, the Eagles are very bad against the run. You know what I mean? It's like these two weird extremes going head to head. But again, we can kind of look at this, right? What is one of the things the Ravens do extremely well? They're a running team. Their quarterback runs well. They have Derrick Henry. So again, you can see what the game plan might be from the Ravens. Run it down their throats. Run. Kind of take advantage of what has been a pretty porous run defense. And then for the Eagles, their plan is going to be obviously throw the shit out of the ball. Throw. take advantage of what has been a bad secondary, and then we'll kind of see what happens in that, right? However, I kind of like the fact that it's in Baltimore. I kind of think that puts a little bit more in Baltimore's favor. I think the fact that the Ravens can, if they can get a lead, they will probably win this game, because again, the way that they can control it is just running the shit out of it. They have a bunch of good running backs. They can just kind of keep the system rolling along. And again, that'll eat a lot of clock, keep the Eagles offense off the field. Whereas like the Eagles, their game plan is probably going to be a lot of throwing, right? Because again, I mean, they're going to run it a lot and use Saquon Barkley a lot, but the Ravens are pretty good against the run, not good against the pass. So incomplete passes stop the clock. It'll, you know what I mean? It kind of just seems like, because the Eagles struggle with the run going up against a run heavy team and one of the better running teams in the NFL, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, all right, this is a thing the Eagles have to address and do well, but they don't really play this well. But I'm kind of leaning on the Ravens winning this game because they're home, because the fact that, like, you know, the Eagles struggle with the run and the Ravens are a run specialist team. That kind of just seems like it's pointing towards the Ravens taking this one, especially since the Ravens don't really need to throw it to win necessarily. So I like the Ravens here. I think this is going to be a very good close game, but we'll see how accurate that statement winds up being. 2 games left. The Bills take on the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers lost to the Packers 38-10 with some injuries and all that. The Bills won the bye week, surprisingly. Bills are 6.5-point favorites with an over-under of 45.5. By the way, if the Bills win and the Dolphins lose, the Bills clinched the division already. I think they would be like mathematically unable to be caught wins and losses. And it's just the way it breaks out. I think anyway, I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure the Bills already got a playoff clincher. And I like the Bills to win this game. 49ers are banged up. I don't really know if they'll have Bosa, if they'll have all those injuries, if they'll have Purdy back. We're not really sure. If not, that's game over. The Bills are coming off a bye, so they'll be super ready for whatever San Francisco has to throw at them. I'd imagine they're going to be able to score, kind of do it pretty easily. Again, the 49ers defense is banged up. Their offense is banged up. Everything about that team is banged up. The Bills are quite healthy. They're looking pretty strong right now. They've been beating the hell out of teams lately. So again, I do like Buffalo here. I think they're teed up to go 10-2. I might revisit this a little bit later if the 49ers have everybody back. You know what I mean? Like everybody's healthy, but I kind of doubt that's going to be the reality here. So again, give me the Bills in a game where they probably win pretty handily, but maybe the 49ers kind of keep it close. Without Purdy, they're gonna get domed. And then we got a real winner for Monday Night Football. For some reason, they didn't flex this shit out. The Cleveland Browns take on the Denver Broncos. Broncos are 5.5-point favorites with an over-under of 41.5. Cleveland coming off a big upset win in the snow game. Broncos coming off their win. I got the Broncos. Surprisingly, I think Cleveland will keep it close with their defense. I think they'll kind of be one of the tougher things that Bo Nix has ever had to deal with. I think they'll kind of shut him down a little bit, but I do think the Broncos ultimately are just a better team. I don't really hold an upset in the division as like this big thing. It's like, no, the Browns have been mostly bad this year. Then they beat the Steelers. It's like, that's kind of how their season's gone. Mostly bad, then they beat Pittsburgh. Even Jamo's second start wasn't that great. Winston's second start, so you know what I mean? Or that start the other week. Then he beats the Steelers. I don't know. I think the Broncos win, so kind of a who gives a crap game. But however, that's pretty much the end there. So I hope you enjoyed our Week 13 NFL Pick'em. If you made it all the way to the end here, I appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, leave your picks down below. How you doing? What picks you have this week? What your record is? What you think of the video? All that fun stuff is always appreciated. Always fun to talk back on and listen back with, and just generally chat about. But yeah, that's it. That's Week 13 down the drain, in the dumps, in the tube, getting in the bin. Flush down the toilet. Removed. I don't know. Anyway, this is a longer pick'em because it was there were 16 games and I was screwing around a little bit. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Sorry it was so long. I don't know why I said sorry, but anyway, thank you. Have a great rest of the week. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of the season because we're running out of games. As always, it's go Lions, go Tigers, and go Patriots, even though we suck. Happy Turkey Day. Peace. It won't stop. Why won't it click?